Hello and welcome to Dayton Music Scene. I'm Art Jipson, known as Dr. J on your Tuesday afternoon alternative here in Dayton, Ohio. We are so excited to bring you this program. We are back after 2 years. Obviously, that was because of the pandemic, so thank you so much for joining us, and we hope that you are safe and healthy wherever you are. Today on the program, we have Shannon Clark and the Sugar. Ladies and gentlemen, Shannon Clark and the Sugar.
I got a sister in Modesto that I don't ever see. I guess it's alright, 'cause she only half looks like me, and I let it ride. Let it ride. Well, my real daddy never knew me till I turned 24. Good thing I found him, 'cause he wasn't knocking at my door, and I let it ride. Let it ride. Well, it doesn't matter when the rain comes, just as long as you get dry. 'Cause it ain't a question of when, it's a question of why. I'm gonna let it ride. I bet a daughter, oh, way before time. I take her place, oh, a million times. I let it ride. Let it ride. Now my mama, she used to leave me when I was just a kid, too busy selling herself to the next man's highest bid, and I let it ride. Let it ride. Well, it doesn't matter when the rain comes, just as long as you get dry. 'Cause it ain't a question of when, it's a question of why. Gonna let it ride. Well, it doesn't matter when the rain comes, just as long as you get dry. 'Cause it ain't a question of when, it's a question of why. Gonna let it ride. Gonna let it ride. Gonna let it ride. Gonna let it ride. Gonna let it ride.
Shannon Clark and the Sugar with Let It Ride. You have a terrific album that's available anywhere where people can get and listen and stream to music, Marks on the Wall. Tell us about making that record.
Well, it was a really awesome experience. We got to work with Grammy-winning producer Mark Howard, who, if you don't know him, he's worked with Bob Dylan, Neil Young, Lucinda Williams, Emmylou Harris, U2. I mean, pretty much every iconic name I can think of. And it was a great privilege, and he came up from Canada, came down from Canada, I should say, and we spent 2 weeks in our hometown of Greenville, Ohio, and rented a house, and we just kind of locked ourselves in there and made this record, and it was a great experience. Really cool.
What about your approach to songwriting? Marks on the Wall has several songs that feel personal and intimate. First of all, do you agree with that? And if so, are you trying to create that kind of space in your music?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're a serious songwriter, generally you try to write from personal experience. Some songwriters are good enough to write from other people's experience, and sometimes I do that as well. But like my niche comfort zone is just writing about what I know, what's personally affected me or close people to me. So definitely, yeah, most of the songs on the record are either from real life experiences or from family members' experiences, yeah. For sure.
And how do you approach writing music?
A couple different ways. You know, sometimes it just happens. If you're going through something, you need to have an outlet for that, and you just get to it to kind of get the emotions out that you need to. And sometimes it's, you know, you hear a catchy thing in your head, you wake up with a weird melody, and you just start writing down ideas. And so I don't say there's one kind of approach. Depends. Sometimes I'm dressed like this. Sometimes I'm in my pajamas. It just depends. I don't go out and officially say it's time, 9 o'clock, I'm going to write down a song. It's more like, well, I'm feeling something, I need to write something, or something clicks in my head, you know. I think that's the way we all feel, I would say, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And we all write. All of us write different things.
And do you bounce ideas off of one another then?
Oh, yeah. Like, so my wife, Brittany, who's not here today, she's our drummer typically. She couldn't make it today, but she's great. We'll go out in the studio and I'll kind of have an idea, and we'll just bounce ideas off of each other. And she's really good at keeping me like on track. Like, well, what are you trying to say?
Yeah.
Because I'm not understanding that. Or try this line. And Navy's really great at melody lines. And sometimes Joey and I will sit and work on guitar parts together. And he's a whiz at just coming up with really interesting parts. So it helps inspire us to write cooler melody lines, you know.
So we have Shannon, Navy, and Joey of Shannon Clark and the Sugar. Can we get another song from you guys?
Absolutely. Give me just one quick minute here. This next song is called Little Darling. And wrote about my grandparents meeting at a barn dance many years ago. Tennessee Proud Boys picking a tune, yeah, the band yelling calls and I'm looking for you. Hands in my pocket for 3 straight weeks just to fly on the wall and just shuffle my feet. Well, I took 2 showers, they back my hair, and not that you noticed and not that you care. About that time, you know, you walked in with that polka dot dress and it's cool. Girl, grin, and I said, hey there, hey little darling, hey there, hey little darling, hey there, won't you tell me your name? Hey there, hey little darling, hey there, hey little darling, hey there, won't you tell me your name? You bow to your partner and you do-si-do. I hope my nerves, they don't start to show. I never seen such a pretty thing than a nugget of gold or a diamond ring. Yeah, well, that room was spinning as I walked towards you. I don't know what I'll say or what I'll do. Feel my heart inside of my chest and I couldn't believe it, man. Yes, when I said, hey there, hey little darling, hey there, hey little darling, hey there, won't you tell me your
won't you tell me your name? Hey there, hey little darling, hey there, hey little darling, hey there, won't you tell me your name? And I said, hey there, hey little darling, hey there, hey little darling, hey there, won't you tell me your name? Hey there, hey little darling, hey there, hey little darling, hey there, won't you tell me your name? Nice. That was exciting. I like that one. You want to do another one? This next song is, so I write a lot about my family, obviously, and because that's what I know. And this song is about my grandfather. This next song, about him finding himself in the world after Grandma passed. And it's called "Wait Till Spring." I could wait all winter just to feel your spring. It seems like I've forgotten just what I'm doing here. 'Cause ever since you left me, I'm wasting in this skin. Yeah, the ground is just too cold to bury these old bones. And I'm gonna wait till spring. And maybe you're still listening to our favorite song. On Saturdays I'll tear it up and drink just enough to feel alone. Yeah, I waited around till spring and seen them flowers sing. Now I'm moving on. When we said our piece, as you rocked in your chair, never thought it'd be the last time that you'd ever sit there. 'Cause ever since you left me, I'm wasting in this skin. But the ground is just too cold to bury these old bones. I'm gonna wait till spring. Maybe you're still listening to our favorite song. On Saturdays I'll tear it up and drink just enough to feel alone. You're waiting around till spring and see them flowers sing. Now I'm moving on. Now I'm moving on. Seen them flowers sing. Now I'm coming home.
Oh, just lovely. That's lovely. Beautiful harmonies. Can I get you to grab your mic there, my friend? So I've got to say, there is clearly a family chemistry here. I will argue all day long that there's something especially beautiful about the Everly Brothers because they harmonize with that family connection, that love, that blood, that whatever you want to call it. I feel like you have it too. Do you personally capitalize on that when you think about a song or an arrangement?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of times when I'm writing, I'm vocally driven. We vocally drive our band a lot, so there's not many songs where we don't at least three of us are singing. So a lot of times when I'm writing something, I'll think about Navy's vocal and like how it could come in and how it could enhance the song, or sometimes I'll write parts for her specifically that kind of accent that, I guess. Yeah, so for sure.
And so I'm just curious, like a picture of your home life, that you're all singing to each other or singing back and forth. Please don't ruin this for me.
Okay.
No. Please ruin it for me. Do you really bounce ideas or vocal arrangements or harmonies? Like Navy, do you hear, your mom or dad singing and think, oh, well, I could go here with that?
I think, yeah, absolutely. I think a big part of our music is the family blood, like you were talking about. So I think, we're always creating different music just at home, and I think that is really special because, I'll hear something, he'll sing something, and then it's just like a really cool connection. Yeah.
I want to say something. So there's a lot of times we'll be writing. I'll come in the room and she'll be in her room like studying for school or something. I'll be like, hey, check, sing harmonies of this real quick. I want to see what it sounds like. And she'll be like, I'll be like, you can sing that, and she's like, yeah. Like she's always like makes me feel dumb, but I'll just run in and she's like, like trying to do school and in the middle of a class, and I'm just like, hey, check this out, and like, yeah. So I'm very bad at that.
So you're saying there's certain challenges of being connected to like a musician dad, or I'm teasing, of course, but I'm curious how when you have something, because that last song had such beautiful harmonies in it, right? Did that appear in your mind? Did that arrangement come to you when you were first thinking of the song, or did that develop over time?
I mean, I always have it in my mind, the harmonies, but I think sometimes when we went to the studio, we tried to keep the songs really raw. This was a song on the record, and we wanted to kind of keep him raw so Mark could do his producing and like let him have some creative expression on his side of things. So we went in with just very minimal ideas for the songs, and we let him kind of mold them and just bounce ideas. So I don't know, on that song actually, we've recently developed more of the harmonies even live than we did on the record. Like it's stuff we've worked on, because a lot of times you ever hear like Dave Matthews in an interview, he'll be like, yeah, I feel bad when I go out on the road after a couple of months. Like the fans are getting this amazing show that the studio album doesn't always capture, because they might have just went in, learned the songs real quick, knocked it out, but then you're on the road for 3 months and then it's like, oh, all this stuff comes out. So I feel like that's why it's good to support live music, because you never know what you're going to get, right?
So the live show can be totally different than what's on the album.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, is that just something that you strive for, or does that just happen organically?
I think when you want to take this, Joe?
No, go for it.
No. I think when you love music and you love doing this, I think you're looking for ways to make things better. It's just natural, You want to like, oh, hey, I just had this idea. Like Joey will come to practice. Hey, I was just messing around with this guitar part. What do you think of this? And I'll be like, oh, it's so much better than the record. I love it. Let's do it. Let's throw it in, And we do that a lot. So.
Of course, the more you play a song, the more for you it evolves. Mm-hmm. By the time we hear it on a record, you've probably been living with it for years.
That happens too. Now, this record was a little different. Some of the songs I'd had written for a long time, and a lot of them, because of Mark's schedule, I only had about half of the record written, and I had about 6 weeks to write the rest of it. So we locked ourselves in our studio, my wife and I and Navy, and we just kind of hammered out some ideas that I'd had cooking for a while, but not really definite. So, for instance, there's a song on the record called Houses, which we're not playing today, but it was totally different. I mean, if you listen to the record, I wrote that song as a straight-up country song, and it is absolutely an indie pop rock song or in folk rock. It's totally different than what it meant to be, but I love it. I love how it came out.
I have to go on record and say how disappointed I am that you're not playing that song. It's one of my favorites on the record.
Yeah.
But of course, it's not like you need to in any way make me feel better.
Well, that song is a hard one to do without the full band. I've never tried it. I mean, I could maybe pull it off, but
we'll see, maybe someday.
Very good.
Private concert later.
Well, clearly, I'm going to have to go see you in concert. There's the
Yes,
answer.
that'd be awesome.
That's absolutely the answer. Can we hear more of your great music?
I would love to, yes.
Do a quick tune. These old guitars like to go out of tune. This guitar is from 1955, and that one's from 1968. And they just, like anything when it gets older, it needs a little more care. This song is one of my favorites on the record. It's a lot different than our other stuff, but I loved writing it. I wrote it in the actual studio, and it was a pleasure to do. It's called 1,000 Times. Turn the lights down low, like we used to do on that front porch. But you don't call this place home anymore. It's just me and this old guitar, all alone. And the sound of a slamming door. It takes more from you than it deserves. Like 1,000 swords, it cuts you down, down. Maybe we weren't meant to share this house. But how can you forget my name after you said it 1,000 times and 1,000 times again? It's like we never met, just a passing conversation. But Virginia didn't change a thing. Did you ever really wear my ring? I know I moved on, and you moved away and changed your last name. And I turned them lights back on, 'cause I'm not afraid of being alone. Like 1,000 waves crashing down, down. Tides moved in and you roll back out. But how can you forget my name after you said it 1,000 times and 1,000 times again? It's like we never met, just a passing conversation. Forgetting my name after you said it 1,000 times and 1,000 times again. It's like we never met, just a passing conversation. Like 1,000 swords or a slamming door, I don't need you anymore. Very good job, guys. So this next song is the title track on the album, It's called Marks on the Wall. It's a really personal song to me, dealing with the loss of my grandparents and my wife's grandmother. The song speaks a lot to us, and it was hard to get through it the first few times we sang it. But I hope you guys like it and find some comfort in it. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All those years she broke her back, but you can't even stand to watch her pass. Room full of pictures of people who cared, they're no longer there. What if she was moved away when things got tough? Marks on the wall just to see how tall it don't mean a thing. Yeah, the doctor, he comes once a week, and the sister, she visits from Deer Creek, and she stays long enough to be seen, if you know what I mean. All of your life you took 'em in, taking care and raising others' kids. You never knew what it's like to feel like this now that she's home. What if she would have given up, moved away when things got tough? Marks on the wall just to see how tall it don't mean a thing. Yeah, the doctor, he comes once a week, and his son, he comes over from Pikes Peak, and he stays long enough to be seen, if you know what I mean. Yeah, the doctor, he comes once a week, and his son, he comes over from Pikes Peak, and he stays long enough to be seen, if you know what I mean. From a farmhouse built out in '53 to a one-bedroom with no scenery, is this all she meant to me? Yeah, the doctor, he comes once a week, and I used to visit from Pikes Peak, and I'd stay long enough to be seen, if you know what I mean. Yeah, the doctor, he comes once a week, and I used to visit from Pikes Peak, and I'd stay long enough to be seen, if you know what I mean. Cause I wanna raise a voice to arms, cause you can't even die on your own terms. It's just a waiting game to see who's first to give what's left of me. But what if she would have given up? She moved away when things got tough, cause marks on the wall just to see how tall it don't mean a thing.
Lovely, just lovely. And the title track is one of my favorites on the record, so you definitely satisfied me there. So thank you for that. But no, in all seriousness, you pay a lot of attention to lyrics, right? There's a lot of thought given, not just to the music, but to the lyrics, what you're saying, how you're saying it. I'm curious if that comes early in your process, or does that come later in the process? Like you've got the music and then you work the lyrics into it?
A lot of times I go through phases. Like sometimes I feel like the music comes first, but sometimes I have a lot of like I used to be big into writing poetry, so I would, write a lot of the lyrics before I'd write the music. And it just depends. Like, I go both ways. But I mean, I definitely feel like my better songs, I think the ones I'm more proud of.
Can I get you to grab the microphone? Oh. Thank you. You and me both, brother.
Is this thing on? Is there a blue light special in here? Hello? I think, so the songs I'm most proud of, I would say, probably the lyrics came first. I spent more time on developing the story. Sometimes I'll even write like short stories and base the song on the short story. So that's why sometimes there's a lot of details that maybe your imagination can put together, because I might have written a story with specific things. It might be 2 or 3 pages of a backstory that you don't hear in the song, obviously, because that's just stuff I do for myself to understand what I'm trying to say better sometimes. So you don't get a lot of time in 4 minutes to write it's hard to write a whole story.
But you conveyed, like marks on the wall there, you conveyed a lot in you figure you've got less than 4 minutes because you've got the music that leads in and leads out. And so in something like 3.5 minutes, you are telling the story of someone's lifetime almost.
Right.
That's got to feel really powerful. Does it ever feel to you like a burden? I must do this justice.
I mean, I think any artist struggles with, after they write a song they're proud of, like it's always what's next, and it's like, what are you going to do next? And it's like, I feel that a lot. I'll go through phases where I'm like, man, I don't have any more songs in me. There's nothing coming out that means anything to me. And then something will change and something comes out. It just, it's always say, they always say there's 1,000 bad songs for the one good one. You write a lot of junk. I got notebooks full of stuff that I would never let anyone see. I'm burning them before I die. No one will ever see them. They're horrible. But I had to write that stuff to get to the songs that mean something to me and connect with me. So, yeah.
So is that how you know when you have something that you feel a personal connection to it, or it triggers or it causes a cascade of emotions in yourself?
Yeah, if it doesn't have some kind of connection, usually emotionally, like most of our songs, I remember writing them, singing them to my wife, and feeling that pull in my heart, or, sometimes they're tearful if it's something really personal, like, Carry Me, our song Carry Me is hard. It was hard to get through. And so that's how I know, even if no one else loves it, I know that I connected with the song. And I feel like if you connect with songs and it's important to you, I feel like other people will find that connection at some point. And so that's my goal, is to not write for other people. I write for me and expressing myself, and hopefully someone else is going through things that I went through or can find comfort in what I'm doing.
When you've played out at a show or after a show, has anyone expressed that to you? Like they've come up and said something to you, this song really moved me?
A lot of people throw tomatoes at some point.
Wait, is that still a thing?
It is, we've had people, I have a songs about losing, kids. I have songs about my grandparents, and I usually, if you're at the shows, a lot of times I will tell a story about the song, maybe that I don't tell at every show. And I've had people come up, give me hugs, crying, and that's that for a musician, for anyone. That's, if someone can connect to a level like that with your music and not have experienced exactly what you did, it's probably the most rewarding thing. And so, yeah, it happens sometimes, and when it does, it's like a moment in time, keeps you going, for sure.
I mean, that's got to be incredibly satisfying and gratifying,
right? That
somebody feels that passion and all of the hard work that you put into it to build that song, to make that song, and it resonated with someone.
Right.
It's got to be an incredible feeling of joy, and goodness knows these days we need all of those we can grab.
Amen.
Speaking of moments of joy, could we have a few more songs?
Absolutely.
Tune for this one. This is a wild one. This is a song based off of a true story about my great-great-grandfather. Again, with my grandfathers. He was not a very good man. I kind of wanted a song where he paid for what he did. So I wrote this. And this song, there's a music video for this song on YouTube you can check out. And it's called Red River. 1, 2, 3, 4. Josie never had much, just a knack for having kids. Found herself a simple man in a farm that she could tend. Make ends meet, you know they'd run a little shine. Ride down that Red River to the North Kentucky pine. You better run, Red River, run. You better run, Red River, run. The preacher of the town, well, they had no room to sin. Turn the law to a door and send him up for 10. Why, dear Lord, would the preacher be the one? Things get a little complicated between a father and a son. But you better run, Red River, run. You better run, Red River, run. Red dirt girls, well, they never stand a chance. They came for the kids' plow and the land. But when they found her laughing, no longer Josephine, right in front of the preacher's house with a can of gasoline. You better run, Red River, run. You better run, Red River, run. Let the record show that I barely knew the man. Courtroom was quiet as a neighbor took his stand. I'm not saying she's right, that's for the Lord to find. But if it would have been me, would have lit it up like the 4th of July. You better run, Red River, run. You better run, Red River, run. Things you do in secret, my hand up on the gun, Red River, run. Usually there's a fiddle there. You can have a fiddle guy today. It's good. It's fun. Oh, I like this next song. It's fun. Thank you all for having us out today on DATV. It's a great program. A lot of special volunteers here today. I'm going to do my best to name all of them, and if I don't get all of them, then I feel bad. But I want to thank Art, Greg, Terry, Doug, Ryan, Elizabeth, and there's one other guy. I forget his name, but he has a dumbbell around his neck, and he's Kathy's son. Close. Terry. I did say Terry.
Ted then.
Ted. Almost. But thank you guys all for working so hard, making us feel welcome. This next song is kind of like an ode to everlasting love, I guess you could call it. Will you be my love from now until I don't wake up? I will be your love from now until I don't wake up. Will you be my bride, so sweet as the rain keeps time on the trees? Dove cannot fly with sparrow, I said. Then I will build you wings. Will you be my love from now until I don't wake up? I will be your love from now until I don't wake up. Will you stand by me, my sweet, when all we have are thorns? The embers fall and the dust fills the land, and I'm forever yours. Will you be my love from now until I don't wake up? I will be your love from now until I don't wake up. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Will you be my love from now until I don't wake up? I will be your love from now until I don't wake up. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Just lovely. That was lovely. Thank you so much. I'm curious, Shannon, have you always been a songwriter? Like I'm picturing you at like 5 years old, writing, in your notebook at school or something, like getting into trouble. No, we're working on math here, Shannon. And you've got like poetry or things written. Have you always felt called to make music?
I think, I always had an interest in it. I tried out for band in 5th grade and I played trumpet. But I'd come with other instruments to practice, and I would play harmonica during, we'd be jamming and I'd pull out my harmonica and try to play, and the teacher would be like, well, you put that away, we're not playing harmonica, you're playing trumpet. I would do stuff like that. And I always wrote a lot of poems, had a keyboard, always goofed off. And I think as I got older, I wrote poems for, for special young ladies, that I wanted to meet, and I'd write them poems, and that was kind of a way to kind of express. But yeah, always really liked doing it. I don't know that I ever thought I'd be a songwriter until I got probably, into my older teens. But yeah, definitely been there though.
At what point did you feel it change? Writing stories or poetry or trying to reach out to a paramour. At what point did it become music?
Man, that's a good question. I think the first point that I had like a serious, a girl that I really liked, and she broke my heart, and I think that I no longer wanted to just write the words. I wanted them to be, I wanted to pour my feelings out. And I always loved singing. Used to sit in my room like listening to records and mimicking all the famous singers back in the day and trying to sing like them. So I guess it kind of transitioned from just being young in love kind of made me pick up a guitar. And I think I picked up my first guitar when I was a teenager, trying to impress a girl was the whole idea, because her family played music, and I was like, she'll like this if I pick up this guitar. It was the whole thing. So I got the guitar and then tried to woo her with my playing and singing, and so yeah.
Well, of course, we have to ask, how did that go? Did it work? Did you woo the fair damsel?
Well, we were married for some time, yes. No longer. She got
okay,
sick
so
she
it
got
worked
sick
for
of my
a
guitar
while?
playing. She married Jimmy Page, somebody who's just better at guitar.
Oh, that's not fair.
I know,
it's
right?
so not fair to you.
It's like, how can I compete with that guy?
Well, if I'm going to ask you this, Shannon, I feel the need to ask Navy this as well. So at what point did you feel pulled into music, right? Because both your parents are into music, was it just a natural flow? I know we talked about it a little bit earlier in the program, but I'm curious when you recognized it as, okay, I'm involved in making music, writing songs, creating music.
I think I got my first guitar when I was probably 5 or 6, and I always had a keyboard kind of in my room, kind of similar to him. And my dad was always singing, and my mom was always playing old Patsy Cline when she's cooking dinner, and I think music was just so ingrained in all of our lives that it just felt like it was something that was just going to happen naturally. Not that I ever thought I needed to, but it just felt like it was just the most natural step for me.
So it's just sort of a natural, organic thing within the family, and you felt, I need to do this, I want to do this?
Absolutely. I think, we used to learn old songs together on the guitar. We used to sing Merle Haggard songs, and I remember the first couple of shows I got to play with him. I had to come up and sing a couple songs, and I'd go sit back down and just watch them play, and I just remember thinking, like, I want to be just like that one day, just kind of really interesting to me, I think, ever since I was a little kid.
And what did that feel like, watching, your dad or your parents play and make music, and then transition into being part of that effort yourself? While you're watching them, did you have a particular feeling, and then as you moved into that role as being part of the group, did that change?
Yeah, I think so. I think, especially the last, I'd say about 2-3 years, I've started to be more involved with the music, and it's just so enjoyable. Like, I really enjoy doing it, and I think, we talked about it when I was little, and then as I got older, it just, we'd work on singing together, and it just became like a really special connection. So we got to move forward with that, and that was really special.
Well, of course, I have to ask the silly question, because that's what I'm here for. I could jokingly say that's why I get paid the big bucks. But Shannon Clark and the Sugar, why the Sugar?
So when we started the group, by the way, I absolutely hate that my name's in the band. I would rather just be something, but that's it. We got tired of trying to figure it out, so we just ended up on that because the sugar's sweet and, I don't know, delicious. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's just sugar's like a good thing, right? So, and I call my wife the Sugar. She's my sugar, so just kind of fit. And we wanted a name for the band that played. I don't mind being an artist that has, some artists are just the name and they have other guys that back up. But I was like, I always wanted to be like something in the something, to kind of give, pay some homage to the people that pour their heart and soul out with me every night, because they're a big part of. Without them, I wouldn't sound near as good. You know what I mean? So,
Oh, absolutely.
Got to have those guys, for sure. So I guess that's why.
Well, I know we have talked about the idea of authenticity. Your music has an Americana feel, but if you listen to Marks on the Wall, there are songs, like House that's atmospheric. It wouldn't easily be labeled Americana, right? It's not just folk or just country or just Americana. Your music has kind of an expansive range and feel to it. Is that something that you all do on purpose? Or is that something about just how you make the music and working with, as you mentioned before, right, the producers and the sound engineers you worked before? Did that just develop as you worked?
I think I have a hard time doing one type of music. I love so much that a lot of it shows up in my music. I grew up listening to country. My mom was a country disc jockey, but I also grew up listening to hip hop, and I loved rock and roll, and so it was like sometimes I feel like we shouldn't have to label ourselves. We fit in the Americana genre. Some songs aren't that way. I think we have songs that are poppy and soulful, like soul music too, and that's just what comes out. I don't mean to do that, and I don't know if I could write only one kind of music. I think I would never. If it would be boring if I did that. That's just my thing. Some guys are really good at being very consistent. I mean, Willie Nelson's made the same record for a long time, and he does a great job at that. But I can't do it that way.
So you're personally pulled to different styles of music,
right?
And you want to try to represent that through your work.
Yeah, I mean, I think Americana, singer-songwriter stuff's my favorite kind of music. I connect with songs, but I love a good old classic soul song, and sometimes I want to rock, and sometimes I want to add some interesting things behind what we're doing, because I love the idea of putting on headphones and saying, oh, what is this sound I'm hearing? I like that too. I don't know that I'd make a record that was one type of thing, but I guess if that answers the question. But
yeah, no, it totally does. Yeah. That you enjoy lots of different styles of music, and that works its way into the songs that you craft.
Right, and not to mention that we all bring certain gifts to the table. So, my wife is into very different music than I am, and my daughter's into very different music, and Joey and I, we all listen to a lot of the same stuff, but we also have our own individual favorites, and I think that pulls those influences in. When you're making a record or you're playing out live or whatever it is, we're all going to have that extra little thing that makes it special. We're not just all into one thing.
So everybody contributes something unique to what you're doing, which makes what you're doing that much stronger, wouldn't you say?
I think it does. I mean, I know a lot of people, we've talked to record labels and managers and people like that, and they're always like, I don't really know, I don't know what genre you are. It's a little scary because I don't know where to put you, but I love what you're doing, but I'm not sure where to put you. And I'm like, well, don't put us anywhere. The thing is, we could go out and play a 20-minute set in 5 different genres, and we could cater it to whatever we're doing.
Right.
So anyways, but.
Well, thank you so much for being here. And if somebody wanted to contact you or get access to your music, could you tell us what your social media is and your webpage?
Sure. It's just ShannonClarkSugar.com, scsugarmusic on Instagram, just Shannon Clark and the Sugar on Facebook, any of those. You can kind of Google it. There's lots of stuff. Bands in town, if you want to follow us. We're going to be big shows coming up in March. If you want to come and see us live, we'd love to have you.
Well, thank you so much, Shannon Clark and the Sugar. We're restarting Dayton Music Scene. We'll be back next month with a brand new program. In between now and then, there are ways to reach out to us. Please feel free to contact us with suggestions and thoughts. Thank you so much for listening and watching, music friends. Remember, support your local music scene. Can we get one more song from you guys?
Absolutely. This song is very special to us, and I wrote it after we lost our daughter, and it always kind of got us back into playing music together. It's called "Carry Me."
Never thought I'd miss this Ohio. Never thought I'd race to see its sun. But I buried my mother's mother and father, and I watched my little girl waste away in this rocky world. And I know I'll never, ever be the same. Carry me home. Carry me home. Carry me. Never thought I'd miss these fields of gold. Didn't think I'd sell everything I own. But I can't mistake the way this wind is changing. Yeah, 'cause now that I'm growing old, know this is where I wanna rest these bones. Bury me next to my pine tree family. Carry me home. Carry me home. Carry me. Never thought I'd be somebody's something. Didn't think I'd raise a family. But I miss you like a soldier misses his mama. Yeah, in a wasted 20 years. Oh, hiding in this fear that it never, ever really amount to much. You carry me home. You carry me home, yeah. You carry me home. Carry me home. Carry me home. Carry me. Carry me home. Mm-hmm.